Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome if you're new. Thank you for taking time out of your day to check the video out. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and cover today, and we're starting with both Sony and Bungie seemingly teasing a full reveal for Marathon that is, I guess, going to take place very soon. This is being reported by Push Square. They say PlayStation has updated all of its social media channels and pages with images relating to its upcoming live service game, Marathon, with developer Bungie posting the first tease. On Twitter, the team has begun posting black and neon green imagery that fans have found leads to an ARG. The latest update takes the form of a security alert video linking to a website. In accordance with Bungie's teasing, PlayStation itself has updated all of its social media pages with the initial neon green imagery. You can see it on the brand's Twitter page, YouTube channel, Facebook page, and more. Given the sudden but welcome updates, it's assumed these teases will lead to some sort of Marathon reveal or news. So obviously people have been trying to figure out the ARG here, and multiple things have been discovered. They've found things relating to soundtracks, weaponry, and a bunch of other things regarding Marathon. And so, you know, it's pretty cool to see Bungie kind of rolling it out this way, but it does seem like we are going to get a proper full reveal maybe as soon as next week. I mean, it could come later in the month. It's hard to say, but what isn't hard to say is that the marketing for Marathon has officially begun. So this is a game that I don't know how much hype there is for it. I mean, it is Bungie and it is their next proper game after Destiny. So I would say there's probably a fair amount of excitement. Certainly a lot of people very interested in seeing what this game ends up looking like and if it's going to be, you know, worth getting excited over. Now, when it comes to whether or not it's going to be the big success that Bungie needs, you know, the big follow-up to Destiny 2 that they seemingly need, I have no idea. But I am rooting for it, right? Out of all the different live service games that Sony still has in development, I think this is one that I have a pretty decent amount of confidence in, or just a good amount of confidence overall, because, you know, Bungie is very experienced. They know what they're doing. And I would expect at the very least when this game is shown off, it's going to look pretty good, right? Pretty good to great. I don't imagine it looking like mediocre or just flat out bad. That's always a possibility. I guess what I'm just trying to say here is I'm keeping my expectations pretty much right in the middle, with maybe just a little bit of optimism sprinkled in there because Bungie is a very experienced developer. But yeah, I'm curious to know what you guys think about Marathon. Is this a game you're going to be looking forward to seeing from Bungie maybe next week or later this month? Let me know down in the comments below. We're going to move on to the next topic, which talks about an update regarding the Horizon Zero Dawn TV adaptation. Apparently, it's actually going to be a movie. Being reported once again by Push Square, Sony has made the decision to change its Horizon Zero Dawn adaptation from a TV show with Netflix to a movie. Talking to Variety, the PlayStation Productions lead Asad Kizilbash said the TV project in collaboration with Netflix was not creatively going how we wanted it to. Now a Horizon Zero Dawn film will be made instead. Now on top of that, we're hearing that PlayStation Productions is thinking about doing something with Astro Bot. Once again from Push Square, they say expanding on the suggestion, Kizilbash explained to Variety how Sony picked up on last year's PS5 entry, earning many awards and building up an audience of enthusiasts. Those are very early indicators for us to want to try and grow that franchise and grow that IP, so we're constantly looking at it. And I would say it's not just sort of awards and nominations that drive that, he explained. Sometimes we have IP that's just got great stories that a creator really wants to adapt it. So this is confirmation that PlayStation Productions is thinking about doing something, whether it be a movie or a TV series or just something along those lines for Astro Bot, which would be very interesting, and I could see that easily working. But yeah, the idea of Horizon Zero Dawn being turned into a movie rather than, you know, being a TV series, I think that makes a lot more sense. Honestly, that's what I thought they were going to do originally. Still very nervous about it. Same with God of War. I feel like these are two big PlayStation franchises that, in terms of how they're going to translate to live action, I don't know, man. It could go very wrong. So I'm cautiously optimistic, and the only reason I have that optimism is because PlayStation Productions has done a pretty good job, or even a very good job in some cases so far. So I will continue to update you guys on this. But moving to the next topic here, this is not PlayStation Studios related, but something that I think a lot of PlayStation players are going to be very happy about if it turns out to be true, being reported by WCCF Tech. According to two reliable leakers for news about Apex Legends, the long-awaited Titanfall 3 is not dead, and it's currently in the works at Respawn. So the two leakers apparently have a very solid reputation for Apex Legends leaks. And one of the leakers gave a pretty clear, I guess, confirmation that Titanfall 3 is happening, claiming that Respawn is working on the game and that it will be revealed during the Game Awards 2025 in December. And so this is something that I think a lot of people are going to be excited to hear about. If it turns out to be true, we do have to take it with a grain of salt. But again, it does seem like it's coming from some pretty good sources here that know what's going on at Respawn. People have been asking for another Titanfall for many, many years now, and it just seemed like it simply wasn't going to happen. So if it is true that this game's actually going to get revealed this year, that's going to, I think, be a big deal. But the only unfortunate part here is that it's not happening till the very end of the year, and it could also be in very early development, which means it could be years away. But either way, I think Titanfall fans are just very excited to hear that we might be getting a third entry. And yeah, so let me know what you guys think about that. Moving on to the next topic, I wanted to briefly cover Shuhei Yoshida's thoughts on the Switch 2 reveal coming from Push Square. It says you may have missed this, but Shuhei Yoshida, the beloved ex-PlayStation executive of over 30 years, reacted live to the Switch 2 reveal. He joined the crew over on MidMax to watch the presentation live and provided some commentary, mostly after the show concluded. Host Ben Hansen asked him for his thoughts on the Direct, and he wasn't afraid to speak his mind. It was underwhelming until the From Software game showed up, Yoshida said. What rating would he give the show out of 10? He says a 6 until the From Software game came, then I give it a 7. He added that he wanted to see more new game announcements, was a bit disappointed that the Direct was broadly focused on remakes or ports. Yoshida was a big fan of the Switch 2's camera accessory and subsequent gameplay gimmicks, as well as, quote, being able to see other people's gameplay even if it's a different game, end quote. He also said the tutorial-like welcome tour looks really nice, but hopes it will be cheap price-wise. As for the console's price point, he says the US price is, quote, higher than I had anticipated, but everything's price is higher now, end quote. Upon discovering the price in Japan, however, he was shocked at how low it is. Wow, 50,000 yen, that's unbelievably cheap. Considering it's about 150 yen per US dollar, everybody should go to Japan and buy it. So yeah, I just thought that this was kind of interesting and worth going over because, I mean, Shuhei Yoshida is just not stopping, man. He's out here giving his thoughts on everything. I mean, straight up live reacting to the Switch 2 event. And so it's definitely interesting to get his thoughts and perspective on what Nintendo is doing, considering he's, you know, he was working at PlayStation for 30 years. Really, really interesting stuff there. But the final topic here is just letting everybody know to be careful with The Last of Us Part 2 remastered on PS5. Update 2.0 is apparently busted. It rolled out yesterday and it broke players' save data on the PS5. And so what was supposed to be a patch that made improvements to the game alongside adding new content and trophies turned out to be one that caused players to lose their progress. And Naughty Dog is aware of this. They let everybody know that they're aware. They're investigating the issue, and they're saying at this time, we suggest players refrain from overwriting any of their existing manual saves. So I thought that this was just worth kind of putting out here because, yeah, we know that The Last of Us Part 2 just dropped on PC. And for anybody wondering how it's doing over there, it seems to be doing a little bit less than The Last of Us Part 1. Part 1 peaked at 36,000 concurrent users on Steam, and as of right now, it looks like Part 2 has peaked at around 23,000 concurrent players on Steam. So, you know, I'm really not sure how Sony feels about these numbers, or, you know, if that's less than what they were expecting, or, you know, it's hard to gauge for sure. But yeah, it is unfortunate that at least on PS5, you know, with the same update that came out, it seems like it's giving people some issues. So just be aware of that if you're planning on going back and playing some of this new content and playing The Last of Us Part 2. But guys, that's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it informative. If you did, be sure to leave it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share the video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.